As a beginner, you're likely to waste money on tools that you're never going to use properly or you just shouldn't have bought at all. I know I did. So today I've got 5 tools that I've wasted money on that I'm going to share with you so you don't have to make the same mistakes as I did. I would hang around for number 5 if I were you, because this is going to be controversial. This tool is the backbone of a lot of workshops, but for me, I just never got the bang for the buck I paid. Now for these 5 items, I'm going to start off with the cheapest mistakes I've made, and they're going to gradually build up. Towards the end, I'm talking about hundreds of pounds of purchases that have been completely inappropriate. These first lot quite simply fall into the category of I should have known better. I mean, we've got this. It's a dust extractor thingamy bob for a drill when you're drilling into the wall so you don't get dust everywhere. There's no suction. It's basically a cup that goes around the drill. It hopes to catch the dust as it comes out on the spirals on the drill bit. This was always a pipe dream. This was never going to work, and this is £5 wasted that could have been spent on something better. Keeping with the drill thing, we've got this snake bit. This is designed so you can drill around corners, mainly with these little drill driver bits so you can get into those hard to reach places. The idea is sound, the execution is not. Sadly, what happens is every now and again this thing will snag and it will catch, and it turns so violently that I've sprained my wrist twice with this. £5 that seemed like a bargain turned into a couple of injuries. Now there's a simple fix and workaround for this one. You can get a proper right angled driver bit. Loads of brands as well as some cheaper knockoff ones that all seem to do the same thing. Body is rigid, which is where the difference is. Instead of these snaky little bits that curve at any angle you want, this is set at a right angle, meaning that you can hold it tight and in place, and the chances of it biting are vastly reduced. Coming in at around £15 or £20, I would say if you are going to look at this type of attachment, go for the better one. Buy once, buy right, save yourself some injuries. Or, as I'm finding with a lot of things now, be honest with yourself. How many times have you actually needed to drill something at a right angle? If you're a cabinet fitter, kitchen fitter, or something like that where you're repeatedly needing to get into tight spaces to make additions to carcasses, I can't see that you really need this. A little bit more planning might just solve the problem for you. In at number 2 on the list is these funny shaped markers. These are advertised everywhere on social media and make it look to the beginner like this is the kind of kit you need for all the little tasks that you're going to be doing. The reality is, this probably has a little bit of value if you do flooring all the time. Cutting laminate or things like that where you're going to be going around tight and unnatural shapes, it could have a benefit. I've only laid laminate once, and I didn't need this because I cut a gap underneath the door jamb so I didn't have to make an awkward cut. On the face of things, it's not the worst purchase. It was £10, but that's £10 I'm going to add into the wasted tools budget, because at the end I want to see what I could have bought with all this money I should have saved. So there's some basic workarounds for a tool like this. Quite simply, going around the corner, you can make a template out of cardboard or out of decorator's tape. It's not hard, it's free. We all have bits of cardboard lying around. If you've got a household like mine that's ordering off Amazon every 5 minutes, this stuff will be readily available. Save yourself £10, use cardboard, job's a good one. Now coming in at number 3, we've got this mobile drill press. Now I've got to put my hands up to this one. This was me trying to find a workaround to having a full-size drill press because I couldn't afford one. And being cheap has really bitten me in the backside on this. Now the premise for this one is just fine. Add a drill and you get a mobile bench press that you can take to your workpiece, which could be useful if you're doing large sheet goods that you can't get under a bench press. This should allow you to drill at 90 degrees, which is what we're all after. The problem is, it's just a bit cheap. First of all, trying to get it to set to 90 degrees isn't easy. Maybe that's because I've bought a really cheap model. Maybe some of the more expensive ones are better. But let's be honest, when you look at the price of some of those more expensive ones, you're getting back into the same price as a drill press. Lesson learnt for me. Stop trying to find cheap workarounds. Get the kit that you need and that you want, and not the cheaper alternatives that I've sat in a cupboard now for 18 months gathering dust. Moving on now to number 4, and we have got a real one-trick pony. I bought this 3 years ago, and if I was to look at this now, I would know instantly that I wasn't going to get the value that I thought I was. Number 4 is a Signwriting kit. Nice piece of kit, don't get me wrong, it does exactly what it advertised to do. The problem that comes with it is because it's all stencils, you are so limited to what you can write. Not for the size or for the amount of letters that you get, but it's all one font. There's no way to change this out and do something different. I thought I'd be able to make some door signs or some house signs, things that people would buy. The problem was, as soon as I got out there into the market, people wanted things slightly fancier. Things like CNCs and lasers becoming a lot cheaper and more accessible now. You just can't compete with the variety that they offer with something as simple as a basic Signwriting set. Coming in at £100, this one really stung. Don't get me wrong, like most bits of kit, it comes out of the cupboard once a year. Is that providing the value that I need from £100 investment for a workshop of this size? And that's where bits of kit like this come into their own. This is a router base that I made myself. It's cost me a grand total of around £3. Quite simply, what you do is you either draw onto your workpiece or print off the computer and stick it on. You've then got control to look down and start routing those letters out. Is it going to be as good as a CNC? Of course not. You're never going to get the precision that comes with a great bit of kit like that. But what you are going to be able to do is to change the styles, change the fonts, change the depth, change the whole look of the piece for £3 compared to 100. With a bit more wool on my back now, I know which one's the smart purchase, and it wasn't the Signwriting kit. Now I fear that tool 5 is going to set you full of hate, but it's my mitre saw. Hear me out before you explode in the comments though. This is a cracking piece of kit, I'm not saying it's not, but this was my first big tool purchase and it dictated the layout of my shop, where things went. It's got its own dedicated unit that takes up so much space that I could maybe use for other things. When I look at the jobs that the mitre saw does, I can now see that with a good table saw, I can replicate most of these cuts. Some of you will be screaming at the TV now, but what about repeatable cuts? What about angled cuts? And they are valid points. And if those are processes that you have lots of in your workshop, then I completely understand why this might be a vital piece of kit for you. But for me, I make maybe 10 cuts a month on it. They're not really to the size that I couldn't do them on something else. Even where I've got a long length, I can always use a set square on my circular saw to make a very similar cut. Unless you're batching things out that have to be exact, you're not going to need a mitre saw, in my opinion, as one of your big first purchases. I would go for a quality table saw over a quality mitre saw any day. The types of things I make, even cutting boards or chopping boards, yes, the lengths need to be a similar size, but after I've glued them up, I always trim the edges down. So that leads me to ask, do I need precise, repeatable cuts? And for me, the answer is simply no. I'd be really interested to hear what you think, particularly on this last one, but on any of the 5 I've chosen. Are there tools that you use? Is there something else you think should have made the list? And what do you suggest is the best tool to buy for the small garage workshop? So thank you very much for watching. For those of you that are new, I'm Ross. This is Fat Hog Woodworking, a small channel dedicated to small new makers trying to save you from the mistakes that I've made over the last couple of years. If you want to have a closer look at my router jig, the video should be down in one of the corners. And apart from that, have a good time in your workshop and I hope to see you again.